Hey everybody, little update on the trailer. Trailer's almost complete now. When it comes to T-posts, I see a lot of videos about people, welding T-posts for fencing and this and that, and they're gobbing it on, and they're using these massive rods and just trying to lay as much metal as possible. You don't need that. I mean, we're talking 50 amps right there. 50 amps. 50 amps. You don't need 150 amps. You don't need massive amounts of welding. They're T-posts. You really don't. 1/16 to 5/30 seconds, either 60 or 70, depending on what your rod choice is. I usually stick with the 60-13, 60-14, 70s. I mean, this is the little rods that I'm using. These little guys. These are the 5/30 seconds. I think that's what these ones were. But I mean, yeah, 50 amps. That's your go-to. 50 amps. Anywhere between 40 and 60 is perfectly fine for T-posts. T-posts are extruded metal. It is a very soft metal. It is structurally solid, for making fences and stuff, but you can bend them with enough force. But once you have enough of them to combine together, you have a solid structure. Yeah, they work. Even my little tack holding, because I needed to splice in a bunch here. These welds, these hold my weight. These hold my weight. This is just me fucking around and trying to do something. I mean, I'm not the greatest welder, but it works. It works. It works. Yeah, you really don't need, massive ass rods. You don't need, 150 amps. You don't need that. I mean, I went through a whole bunch of videos of people dealing with T-posts, because it was like, okay, I've never welded T-posts. What am I getting into here? And I see all these people, they're 90 to 175 amps, and they're using these massive rods, and they're just cramming the rod in and just melting. And I like countless ones. They're welding a T-post to a T-post, and they're using a 16-inch rod to weld a 2-inch spot, and they're using up the entire rod. I can do one of these welds with a rod that's 9 inches. One rod at 1/16 of an inch. The 1/16 inch, one rod. Hell, for these side ones, when I was just doing the side ones where it was, on this side and then on this side, filling that gap, that was half a rod. Half a rod each upright. So each of my 4 uprights. So these two and those two, that's 1 rod and 2 rod, and then I went back with another rod to go over it. So a 9-inch rod can do 4 inches at, 1/4 inch wide. That's pretty damn good. I'm putting on a big puddle. I'm making it all the way through. I mean, here, yeah, that is showing the penetration. I am going all the way through and creating a hot enough on the back side, creating hot enough on the back side. I mean, even my hot enough on that. It's like, you don't need it. You really don't need, you don't need, 100 amps to weld T-posts. You don't. 50 amps is your middle ground. That's as low as my welder can go, and it does the job. All these welds, each individual weld was tested with my weight. When I welded these on, just the uprights, I grabbed the upright, put my feet down here, and I leaned out holding this, and it held my weight. Each of these single welds can hold 265 pounds. Each individual weld on here, I can stand with a foot here and a foot here on this single weld, and it can hold me up. That is a testament of how strong these welds are. Am I going to be, using them for, holding 500 to 1,000 pounds of stuff? No, not individually, but as a whole, this whole deal can hold hundreds and hundreds of pounds without fail. So if you're welding T-posts 1/16 at 50 amps or 5/32 at 50 amps, and you're good. You're good. You don't need anything more. You really don't. Not for T-posts. T-posts will blow out at higher amps. They really will. It will burn right through it, and you'll be making puddles. Just cut down on your amps, bud.